and welcome, beautiful soul, to this Fundamentals of Yoga series. I am so grateful and blessed to be here and to have you here with me, right here on the mat. If this is your first yoga practice, welcome to yoga. If you've been doing yoga for a while, welcome to this series, this reminder to go back to the basics and truly bring in that sense of awareness and mindfulness. Throughout this series, we will truly be immersing ourselves into the basics of yoga, reminding ourselves how to connect our body to our breath. Because throughout our life, we tend to not pay enough attention to our breath, and that is going to be so crucial throughout this series to really bring awareness to your breath. This is essentially an introduction to all yoga. So, not just one specific type, but really all of yoga as a whole. Between asana and pranayama and meditation, mindfulness, and just the sense of going inward, prioritizing going truly inward. Beautiful. So I am Kylie Skye. I am a certified 200-hour yoga teacher, and I just recently got certified back in February of this year. And I am so grateful to have the opportunity to share yoga with souls around the world. I'm a multi-style yoga teacher, so I really hone in on all of the different styles of yoga between hatha and yin and power yoga, as well as a little bit of kundalini. So many options, and that is why I've chosen to do a series just covering the basics to really hone in before diving into all of the different styles. Just have a nice basis. So I recommend, and I would love for you, if you haven't already, to introduce yourself, your goals for this series, and how you found out about Infinite Ahimsa Haven, how it called out to you inside the Infinite Ahimsa Haven Facebook page group. You can share a little picture of yourself or a little video of you doing yoga, whatever you feel called to do to introduce yourself and connect with other yogis inside the community to grow closer and to expand this experience throughout this month and months moving forward if you choose to stay. Beautiful. So, to get started, I recommend grabbing a blanket or a mat if you have one, setting it down, getting comfortable, finding yourself in a comfortable seat, and stay patient. I'm going to be going over some props and their benefits. So, this is really an introduction. Wake up to yoga is what I called it, because we're really going to be diving in detail to all of the benefits of yoga, as well as the props that you can utilize, and so on and so forth. So, put on something cozy, grab your mat or a blanket, and let's get started. Beautiful. So, to begin, these are props, and I'm not going to be going over every single prop that you could use within your yoga journey because there are quite a few. Some maybe you've never heard of, some you may never use, depending on how in depth you go into your yoga journey. But today I will just be going over the basic props that you can really utilize in pretty much any single yoga practice that you do. So, to get started, I'll just be going over blocks, yoga blocks. You've probably seen them or heard of them, or maybe you even have invested in some. They can be foam, they can be made out of different materials. I've seen cork ones, so on and so forth. But what they're used for is essentially to provide support, as most props are there for. These can be used in a number of ways. One of the most common ways is simply to just place it underneath your sit bones to provide elevation for your hips to rise upward. And this is a very common meditation position that you can use at the beginning of your practice, during your meditation practice, which we will dive more into on Wednesday when I share how to set up the perfect meditation space and position for yourself. So stay tuned for that. But just to go over some of the different ways that you can use blocks. So other than elevating your hips, you can also use it within Pigeon Pose, which you can take simply by placing your shin parallel to the top of your mat. And it's okay if your foot angles in slightly towards yourself, depending on how open your hips are feeling that day. And you see how your hip can rise up a little bit. If it's not flush with the mat, you can take this block and you can place it underneath your hip in whichever way is comfortable, just to provide some extra elevation. So that is another way that you can use and utilize your blocks. You can also do that exact same position with a pillow placed underneath your hip in the exact same way. Blocks and these props that I'm covering will be most useful in restorative poses. But another beautiful way that you can use blocks is in bound angle. You can place it underneath your knees, again, to bring elevation to your knees and allow you to focus more of your energy on straightening your spine. And they're useful for balancing poses. So when it comes to standing positions, when you stand up, and this will be further on in the practice, I will cover a few balancing standing positions, I believe, in the last week's practice. But just to show you a quick kind of go over of another way that you can utilize your blocks is when you come into, let's say, warrior 3 position, where you're hovering your back leg, you're engaged through that standing leg, and you're utilizing the blocks to bring height so that you're keeping your spine long and straight. And you can go on different levels as you advance until you no longer need the blocks. But I highly recommend, and I still to this day use the blocks in many different ways. You can also use them in downward facing dog. And I'm just going to adjust myself since the props are on part of the mat by placing the blocks underneath your hands, curling under your toes, and pressing in to that downward facing dog. This actually adds a sense of activation and can be a bit challenging as your weight is shifted into a different portion of your body, keeps your arms more elevated, and can take a little bit of pressure off of your wrists because you have that support underneath you. Okay, so those are just a few basic ways to utilize your blocks. There's always more, and you can really pretty much utilize them in almost every single position. So keeping that in mind. Beautiful. So I mentioned how you can use the pillow in pretty much all of the same ways. If you don't have blocks nearby, you can use this in a similar way. You can use one or two, depending on how much elevation you need, to be propped underneath your hands or your hips to create elevation and support. You can also use this as a meditation cushion right underneath your bum just to lift you, or during Shavasana or different supine laying down positions, you can place it under your head or under your knees, which we will be covering at the end of this practice. Okay, and just to briefly cover the blanket, again, used in a very similar way as the blocks and the pillow. You can fold it up depending on the thickness of your blanket to create more support underneath your knees, for Shavasana, under your head for support, under your hips to bring elevation, or simply for meditation to bring a sense of comfort during Shavasana or easy seat. I also sometimes like to lay it out over my mat for just some extra support, some extra thickness if your mat isn't very thick. Beautiful. So many ways to use these props and utilize them specific to your practice and what you need. Beautiful. So one last prop that I'm going to go over today is the shoulder strap or the yoga strap. I call it the shoulder shoulder strap because you do use it mostly to open up your shoulders. So as you can see, it is pretty lengthy, and typically most of them have these little buckles at the end where you are able to kind of adjust the length and make it into essentially different shapes by putting it through the buckle like so, and then again through the top, and then you are able to tighten the buckle. And you can make it really tight down to just this circle. And a lot of the times, this is used for stretching out your calves. When you do it this way, you hold on to the long part, and this is a beautiful way to really stretch out your calves all the way up through the backs of your thighs and your quads. It's just a beautiful way to engage and activate, really stretch out your legs if you're feeling any bit of tightness. And this, of course, can be used for either of your legs or your feet, and you can adjust it to whatever length or position you'd like it at. But one of the most common ways, other than that position, is to take the strap over your head and use it as a shoulder stretch. So really allowing yourself to lean on this strap, hold it apart, bring support to your body as you feel your shoulder blades roll back. And again, you might not be this open within your shoulders. So if you just take it to here and you maybe go side and side, you can also utilize a broomstick or a pole, and it works very similar. But if you do happen to have a strap or you invest in one, you can get them for fairly cheap online or at your local store. And it's just a beautiful way to really open up that heart, open up your shoulders, your neck, if you sit at your desk a lot. So yeah, this is a neat little prop that you can utilize within your practice in multiple ways. You can also grab a rope. So there's many different variations or different things that you can use in replace of these props. You do not need any props to practice yoga. I want to say that from the start. These are just recommendations or things that you can utilize that you may already have within your home. Most people have blankets and pillows within their home that you can grab. Instead of blocks, you can use books or any type of thick, sturdy material or item that you can place underneath your hands. Again, a rope, a pole, a broomstick, so many different options. I'm just going over the basics so that you have an idea of different things that you can utilize to help you deepen within your practice. Beautiful. So that covers all of the props that I wanted to go over today. And today we will just be using a block and a pillow or a blanket. So if you have those already within your home, you can grab those. If you don't, that's perfectly okay. All you need is yourself, a comfortable space to practice within, and an open, clear mind. Beautiful. So if you do have those props, you can set them aside for the moment. Or if you'd like to create some elevation, you can prop yourself up on one of those blocks or your pillow underneath your sit bones. So you can set your pillow and your blanket aside for now, as we will be using them later within the practice. And begin now to come into an easy seat. Your legs can be crossed, one foot in front of the shin. Bring some elevation to your hips if that feels best. Begin to roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Feel your shoulder blades roll down your back. Close down your eyes and begin to tap in to the present moment before you. Observing your breath as it enters in through your stomach, up through your heart and your chest, your throat space, and out of your nose or your mouth, your choice. Just that natural rhythm of breath. Here is the perfect time to set an intention for your practice. Just a word or a phrase that will help you move forward in this practice today with a positive mindset. Something simple that you can come back to throughout your practice and throughout your day that will just bring a little sense of uplifting to your mind, body, and soul. It could be, I am strong, I am courageous, I am beautiful. Or it could just be a word like presence or peace, whatever you feel called to choose. Take it in, seal it within your vessel, your body, and then let it go out into the universe and trust that you will take it with you no matter how your practice goes. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out through your nose. Beautiful. You can begin to open your eyes. And now I will guide you through a 3-part breath, a full body breath. So it is called a 3-part breath because what you may not be aware of is that when you do a full breath, you are breathing in through 3 parts of your body. So first, it is into the belly. Then it moves up through the center of your abdomen into your chest space, through your throat, and then when you exhale, it comes out of either your mouth or your nose, depending on what type of breath you're doing. So today, we're just going to do a few rounds of 3-part breath to allow you to be mindful of this breath as we flow through the rest of the practice and your future practices. So for starters, you can stay in this same easy seat, cross-legged position. Begin to breathe in slightly into your womb, into your belly. You can place a hand over your stomach to feel it rise. Pause and shift some of your oxygen now. Feel it move up into your chest. Feel your chest rise. Place a hand over your chest. And one last bit of that oxygen shifts through the throat now. Pause and then exhale out of the nose. Again now, breathe into the belly. Release some oxygen into the chest. Feel the breath move now in through the throat. And release all stagnant energy, anything that's not serving you, out of your nose. One last time into the belly. Feel it expand and move up to the chest, through the throat, and out through the nose. Let it all go. So before moving forward into a few more active positions, I want to say one more thing about the breath today, and that is our breath and being mindful of it can actually intensify and also bring us into a state of relaxation throughout our practice. So depending on our breath, if we're doing a A heavy breath, that's going to bring a sense of more intensity. And you'll notice that it is so, so crucial to always come back to your breath, especially if you're doing a more challenging practice, because it will allow your body to move in a much more effective, slow, graceful, strong way. Beautiful. Okay, so for now, that is enough about breath. Now we are going to move into some asanas, which asana means pose, posture. So whenever you hear that, it just means pose, posture, yoga poses, essentially. So you can come up off of your block. You can set that aside now. Stay in that easy seat. Roll those shoulders back if you notice them kind of clinging up towards your ears. Roll them back. Open your heart. Inhale, arms high over your head. Exhale, drop your right hand behind your back and begin to send these left fingertips over your right knee. Inhale, lengthen through your spine. Exhale, twist. Engage your core. Send your gaze past your right shoulder. So here it's very important to keep your core engaged and make sure that the twist is not coming from your lower back, but it's rather coming from your spine and your core to prevent any lower back injury. So again, inhale, extend, elongate. Exhale, send your gaze past your right finger or your right shoulder, excuse me. You can close your eyes here, connect back to your breath. Notice how, if your eyes are closed, maybe you're able to stay more present in the moment. Just observe. This is your practice. This is your time to learn more about yourself and connect. One more inhale in. Exhale, twist a little bit deeper. And return back to neutral spine, back to center. Inhale again, now arms high, captivate, capture that beautiful abundant energy surrounding you. And exhale, drop your right hand over your left knee, drop your left fingertips behind you. Send your gaze back. Inhale, lengthen, engage your core. Exhale, twist from the core. Feel that yummy stretch all the way down your spine. Breathe in through your nose, out through your nose. Couple more breaths here, staying in the moment. Beautiful. Return back to center. Both hands over your knees, palms face down. Inhale, begin to press your chest forward, send your spine forward, send your gaze high to the sky. This would be a or a cow position, except we are seated rather than on all fours. And exhale, scoop and send your pelvis and your spine back, your chin down towards your chest for a seated cat. And making sure that you exhale and let it all go. Engage your core in as you send your spine back. Inhale, send your chest forward, your gaze high, maybe bring a smile to your face. Exhale, suck your core in, send your body back, chin down to chest. One more, just like that. Inhale in, heart open, aware and awake. Exhale, send your body back. Beautiful. Excuse me. Just going to adjust my mic. Perfect. Come back to center now. We're going to do 3 more breaths as we then transition down onto our hands and our knees. Inhale, arms high, palms to touch down through heart center. Inhale, big open arms, opening the shoulders wide. Down through heart center. One more. Inhale in. And on this time, release your right hand down to your mat right beside you and begin to exhale and send your body over to your right for this yummy side stretch. You should feel it all the way down from your shoulders down through the your side body, through your obliques, even down into your hips, depending on how deep you take it. So pressing down, connecting to the earth, open through the heart as this top left arm is just sent right over your head. You can send your gaze to the sky. You can keep your eyes closed. Connect back to your breath. Beautiful. Bring this left arm down. Press the left hand firmly down into your mat. Connect with the earth once again. Shift this right arm over your head. Come into that side stretch. Open out through the heart. Send your gaze high or close down the eyes. If this is too deep for you, you can always come higher and just stop here. Always stopping to ask yourself, how does this feel? Do I need to go deeper? Do I need to back off a little bit? Always, always, always tuning inward. Don't focus on what the pose looks like. Focus on what the pose feels like. That is what is most important. One more big inhale in. Exhale out. Return back to center. Before we move forward, I want to say this quote, which is, yoga is the journey of the self, through the self to the self, from the Bhagavad Gita, which is a beautiful, beautiful book about the ancient history of essentially how yoga was formed and came to be, at least one part of its history. Beautiful. So now we will begin to shift down to our hands and our knees into what is known as tabletop position. Spine is straight. Picture that you could have a glass of water on your back and it would not spill over. Hands are pressed firmly. Weight is distributed evenly through all 10 fingertips. Knees are soft. If you are ever feeling any tension on your knees or discomfort, you can always take that blanket and you can place it right underneath your knees, just to provide a little bit of extra support and cushion. And from here, we're going to take those same positions that we did, the seated cat-cow, into now a tabletop cat-cow. So inhale, send your gaze high, send your belly down. Exhale, suck that core in, arch your back, send it to the sky for that cat. Exhale out. Inhale in, gaze to the sky. Exhale out, chin to chest. One more, just like that, because it feels so good. High to the sky, heart open, throat activated. Exhale out for your cat. Return back now to that tabletop position. From here, we're going to take some wrist stretches, which will really allow you to open up your wrists. And these are beautiful stretches that you can come back to anytime you're feeling any discomfort within your wrists. Because in yoga, we do tend to lean on our wrists a lot of the time through different postures, like downward dog, which is a very common one that is almost in all yoga practices, or plank, side plank, several different postures. So these are really good ones to keep in mind. So you come into tabletop, and what you can do is turn your fingertips, both of your fingertips, to face towards you, to face towards your knees. And you can begin to shift in just baby circles. Draw baby circles with your hips to the right. Feel the wrist come off of the mat just slightly. Feel that deep stretch. Inhale as you come forward. Exhale as you shift back. And then you can rotate over to the other side so it's even. This will help with mobility and strength within your wrists. One more. Beautiful. Keep your wrists in this position. And now I will challenge you. And this is a challenge, so if you feel uncomfortable at any time, just stay right here. Or you can even back off a little bit. But stay in this position with your fingertips pointed towards your knees and begin to just shift your body weight back. Shift your sit bones back slightly. You'll feel these wrists, and this can be very intense. I know it is for me after I haven't done it in a while. So if you feel pain in any way, just back off, shake out your wrists. Just kind of rocking back and forth a little bit. Couple more breaths here. This rocking motion. Beautiful. Turn your wrists back to forward. Come on to press your sit bones into a kneeling position and just shake your wrists out. You can do some rolls. You can shake them out just to give them a rest. That you'll be like, I feel my wrists, which you normally don't unless you injure them. Beautiful. So just shaking, doing what you need, pausing this video at any time that you need a little bit of extra love on any position. Beautiful. Okay, so if you do have this blanket here, you can shift it over to the side. And we will be transitioning now into downward facing dog. So here is where you can utilize your blocks if you'd like to create some elevation and some extra support within your wrists. Or you can just take a standard downward facing dog where you press both of your palms into the earth, fingers spread wide, fingers pointed towards the corners of the mat. Curl your toes under and slowly begin to peel your way off the mat. Send your tailbone high, downward facing dog. Imagine that you're pressing your heels into the earth, even if they don't make it there. Or if you'd like, since it's the first downward dog of the day, you can begin to just walk your dog out. Pedal your feet, pressing one heel down into the mat and then the next. Pressing firmly through both of your hands. Shoulder blades are wide. Imagine that your heart and chest are pressing closer to the earth, closer to your mat. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Begin to welcome in a little bit of stillness. Press firmly and evenly distribute your weight through your hands. Press down through those heels. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Begin to step your way up to the top of your mat, 1 foot at a time. Inhale, arms high over your head, palms touch. Down through heart center, close your eyes down. Root down through all four corners of your feet so you're connected. And tap back into that intention that you set at the beginning of practice. Say the word or phrase, embody it. Take it with you as you inhale, arms high, palms to touch. Swan dive forward, folding from your hips down to your mat. Let the fingertips go, connect with the earth. Keep a slight bend in your knees to prevent hypertension and hyperextension. Inhale, halfway lift. Bring your hands to your shins, straighten out through your back, just like we did in tabletop position. Send your gaze slightly forward. Exhale down, forward fold. Straightening the knees out ever so slightly. Feel that stretch all the way through your calves, up the backs of your legs, through your hips. Exhale, begin to step both of your feet back. Drop your knees down to the ground and pressing both of your arms to very close to your sides. Begin to melt your way down to the mat for a modified Chaturanga. You're flush with the mat now, and on an inhale, press through your hands, lift up into a baby cobra. Stay active, pressing down through your hands, engaging through your biceps and your triceps. Exhale down back to your mat. Curl under your toes. Press your tailbone high back into downward facing dog. Inhale in through your nose. Find your form. Connect back to your breath if you lost it at any moment. Exhale, step forward once again. Inhale, arms high overhead. Palms touch down through heart center. I have just guided you through a sun salutation. So that is a very classic set of postures that you will more than likely come back to time and time again throughout your practice. So we took it rather slow that time. We're going to pick it up just a teensy bit. I will still guide you through it all, but now you have a sense of what is to come. So inhale, arms high, engage through the core, ground down through your feet, palms together. Swan dive, exhale forward down to your mat, forward folds. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhale, palms to the ground, forward fold, jump or step back. Plank position for a moment. Drop your knees down or keep them up and come all the way down to the ground as you engage through your arms, press down into the earth, lift up into an upward facing dog where your knees and your shins are lifted off of the mat, still engaged through the arms, or you can come down into that baby cobra, a little bit more of a gentle heart opener. Only the top half of the body is activated. Exhale, lower down. Curl the toes under and press your way back into downward facing dog. Inhale in. Exhale out. Inhale in. Exhale out. Drop the knees down to your mat. You can keep them flush together and send your hands back behind you for a child's pose. Rest the head down on the mat. You can choose to look either which way, or you can just place the forehead directly down onto the mat. Cocooning your body, sending love and gratitude to yourself for showing up today. Imagine that your sit bones are placed over your heels.
very relaxed, very restored. Releasing once again what is no longer serving you and holding on to that intention. Beautiful. One more big breath in and out through your nose. Begin to shift your way up into kneeling position. Pause here. Stay with your breath. Stay with your intention and the presence. Beautiful. You can begin to shift off of your feet. Send your legs forward. Inhale, arms high above your head, where your arms are parallel right by the sides of your ears. So inhale, elongate through your spine, stretch through your arms. Exhale, send your belly and your chest over your legs as you reach forward for a seated forward fold. Same concept as you do in standing forward fold, except we're seated now. And here I encourage you to focus on keeping length within your spine. So if if you have to stop here in this position to keep that length within your spine, do that. And as you advance more and you gain more flexibility within your body, you can shift forward. So stopping at the shins, stopping at the ankles, maybe even just stopping at the knees, whatever your body needs. And this is another position where these props can be of a lot of use for more restorative classes. You can stack up and create a bit of elevation so that you can rest your body over these pillows. It really gives a beautiful sense of support. You can always add more, whatever you need, but you don't need any props at all. You can just stop and be in tune with your body with what it needs. So we're just going to stay here for a couple breaths in and out through the nose, staying mindful of our breath. Observing how with each exhale, our body allows us to go deeper. Beautiful. One last inhale through your nose and out through your mouth. Begin to roll your body up vertebrae by vertebrae. You may want to shift your body slightly forward as you bring your body fully down to the mat now. Slowly connecting everything to the earth. You can bring your arms out by your sides, palms faced to the sky to receive energy, or faced down to the ground for a more grounding sense of energy. If you're outside, observe the sounds around you, maybe the breeze, the sounds of the leaves rustling. Or if you're inside, maybe the laughter of family or loved ones, or any furry friends making sounds. Observe it all. and then let it go. I welcome you now. If you would like to, you can take a pillow and you can place it underneath your head to provide you with a little bit of extra support, or you can take a blanket as well, whatever you have around, and you can fold it up and you can place it underneath your knees. Providing support underneath your knees and underneath your head will just allow you to go deeper into the Shavasana, give you an extra sense of relaxation. And I notice that the more comfortable you are, the more you are able to fully embody and embrace the position. So do what you need to do. If you need to pause this and go grab it, do that. And then meet me back on the mat in Shavasana. Beautiful. Once you've arrived here, close down the eyes. Allow the feet to splay off the sides of your mat. Tap into your natural breath as it rises and falls. Thank yourself for showing up today, for making your practice, your inner work, this journey of evolvement and self growth a priority in your life. As I mentioned in the beginning, yoga is a journey of the self, through the self. Asanas, breath work, and meditation aside, yoga is about going inward. So, whatever it means to you to go inward, whether that be through journaling, swimming, doing more acts of self love, that is your yoga then. And honor that. What is yoga to you? Ponder on that question throughout the month, and I encourage you to write down what yoga is to you now, and then maybe come back to that question and reflect on it at the end of this journey and see if it's changed at all for you. Just know that you are exactly where you need to be right now and always. I'm so proud of you for showing up, for making the commitment to yourself to do this. I welcome you to stay in Shavasana for as long as you can, as long as needed. Or if you would like to move forward with your day, you can begin to shift over to your side, come into a fetal position. Breathe in. Exhale out as you shift your body up. You can keep your eyes closed here to allow you to stay present in the moment. Arriving back into that easy seat position. Inhale. Inhale in, arms high over your head, palms to touch. Exhale past your third eye, the center of your brows, down past your throat and over your heart. The light in me honors and sees the light in you, sending so much love to you. And namaste. Thank you for joining me today on the mat for the first practice of this Fundamentals of Yoga series. I hope it served you and was everything you needed in this moment in time. Stay tuned for another 11 practices throughout the series, diving into the fundamentals. I highly recommend coming back to this practice time and time again throughout this week before we dive into another asana practice next week, so that you really are able to solidify and really create a sense of concrete of these basics as we then take them with us and we learn more throughout the month. If you haven't already, check out the journal prompts that I've posted within the Facebook page group that will allow you to seal in your goals and your intentions for this month and be a beautiful sense of reflection. I've also included a music playlist, if you haven't already seen it already, that will be beautiful to turn on in the background of these practices to help you just dive deeper into presence, to help you slow down. And you don't only have to use them during the practices, but I encourage you to listen to it throughout the month to really embody this state of presence and peace. I love you so much, and I will see you very soon right back here on your mat.